Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming into our finance meeting here. We'll call the meeting to order. Is there any conflicts of interest? Seeing none, thank you. Just approval of the agenda? Oh, okay. Moved and seconded, thank you. Adoption of the minutes from our last meeting on June 8th that are attached. Moved.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, there was Donna has emailed it, but there is an issue in the minutes that we need to amend.
Okay.
If we look at the close, oh, sorry. If we look at the closed session,
Do you want to wait till we do the closed?
yeah, there is no closed session today.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay.
So maybe we'll wait till Donna comes back, so
Okay.
we'll just move on. So
Okay.
just your motion to the adoption of minutes, maybe we.
Okay, we'll just pause that portion. Okay, so we can get right into tenders. First tender is the tandem truck services. Okay.
Yes, so this is just a request, it's for the supply of tandem truck services, including operator, shale material, and disposal of excavated material, asphalt, concrete, and so on, from water main leaks for the 22-23 construction season. So this is typically one that we put out every year. The next one is utility inventory, and again, this comes up every now and again, and it's just obtaining submissions for the purchase of items for the water and sewer inventory. And that closes June 29th. It closed, and they're being reviewed, both of these.
Okay, thank you. We're okay with those? Okay, great. We can move on to 5B.
So there's one that's posted and not yet closed. It closes on, I'm sorry, it closes today, actually, at 2. And this is for the generators, 4 large generators for various municipality buildings.
We're okay with that? Okay, perfect. Okay, 5C, traffic control signs and posts.
Yes, there was a small error in the formulas in this, the backup behind this resolution, so it's for the traffic control signs and posts. So there was, like I say, in the itemized list, one of the unit costs was a little bit out of whack. So we would like to put forth that this resolution be rescinded. It's in the amount of 110,032, and the new amount is just 111. There's a $1,000 difference. It'll be $1,000 more. The other 2 items on this resolution still stand. It is just the first one for Martech Signalization, Inc.
Okay, we're okay. All right, perfect. Okay, so we can move into number 6 for discussion. Bell Center AGM.
Yes, so Bell Center has submitted their financial statements to us. They're all there for you to review. Should you have any questions, you can certainly let me know. I have reviewed them briefly so far. They are reporting a surplus of 72,000, so this is good compared to where their forecast was when they gave us that information back in the operational budgeting season. So they're looking at a surplus of 72 $1.4 thousand. And as far as the upcoming year, there's notes from the AGM, and they are predicting kind of pre-COVID numbers for the coming year, which is good.
Any questions or comments on the, okay. Guess we can move on to the Maritime Electric.
So we brought this to the Finance Committee because it's a large amount. However, it should be noted that this is included in the budget for the roundabout. But typically in an amount like this, so if it's over 25,000, we would go to tender. However, this work needs to be done. It's a single source supplier, which is Maritime Electric. And the cost for the work they'll be doing will be $178,000. So like I say, this is more for informational purposes to have in our minutes. And the amount is included in the total budget for St. Peter's and Brackley Point Road roundabout. It's not an extra, it's just included in the budget. Like, we knew that Maritime Electric would be doing some work, obviously, with the streetlights and so on. So again, this is more for informational purposes, given that it is a large amount, and because it is a single source, would not be going to tender.
Yeah, just to wrap my head around it, so its total cost is approximately $178,000.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we're okay with that piece of information? Okay. Number 7, Enterprise Fleet Management. We have that report in the package.
Yes, so what we have here is we have the original report that was presented at our last Finance Committee meeting, and then it was sent out to council for review. And from that, what fell out of that is we had some comments from the PEI Automobile Dealers Association, and they were addressing kind of our 13 points. So the way this is presented, the first page of the report, for example, it's number 1, and it's the reduction of maintenance costs as age of overall fleet will be reduced. So in the red, you have the Automobile Association's comments. So they're saying this will occur with newer vehicles regardless, whether it's an outright purchase or a lease. And then the B part in blue is our response. So we agree with that. So that's the format of the questions and responses. So the question is now the recommendation to move this to council on Monday evening.
Okay. Go ahead, Councillor Ramsey.
Thank you, Nancy. Does all of council have this, their response and everything?
Not yet. This will be if it's recommended that it move forward to Monday night, then it will be going out in the council package on Friday afternoon.
Mr. Chair, just quickly, there will be a recommendation going out to council, so it will be in the package when it goes to council. Because, as you will recall, we either have to rescind and ratify, or back out and give 30 days notice.
Mr. Chair. So, Mr. Chair, we met on, was it June 28th, I think we met on this issue? No, June 27th. And it was brought to our attention about what we should do. As we know, at our last Finance Committee, it was recommended to forward to council to get their input, and we did get the input. Again, Mr. Chair, the questions I asked about the Enterprise Fleet Management, do they have an office in Charlottetown? I think the answer is no. Do they have employees in Charlottetown? I think the answer is no. I think, again, contrast that to our own local dealers. previous bids. I did ask about late fees. I think we were told that late fees were put on hold because of COVID-19. But I did receive information from that meeting from one of the dealers who did supply a vehicle to the city, and their company was hit with a late fee. It was actually massaged in such a way that they had to provide another vehicle immediately, quickly, which cost their company an additional $5,000. So it wasn't a late fee per se, but if they did not meet that delivery, they would have been hit with a late fee. In this contract, there is no late fees. Furthermore, I think I asked the Mr. McFadgen, who is responsible for the fleet management part of our company or of Public Works, if we had received any of the 17 or 19 vehicles, and the answer was no. I know that one of the vehicles that we will be getting or receiving is coming from outside of the country, and I believe they have not started production on that vehicle. I understand that the whole rationale of supply chain issues, manufacturing being hit hard with employee issues because of COVID-19. But again, I go back to my initial questions is that we have local dealerships here and they can do the supply. Going to a previous bid evaluation, Mr. Chair, I know, and I bring this up because we've always been talking about the savings. But in the 2021 fleet vehicle purchase that went out on June 2021, under the bid evaluation of the document, submissions will be evaluated as follows. Vehicle specs component, 70%. Financial component, 30%. So for this contract, we've turned it around. And previous bids were based on specs that we required. Because as you know, Mr. Chair, Public Works requires specs that could involve racks, external attachments that don't come with your standard purchase. Again, Mr. Chair, I am not in favor of continuing on with enterprise fleet management. I hope that council shares the same view as Philip Brown, citizen, a member of council, as a representative of the office of mayor, that we move on, go back to what we've been doing previous to this enterprise fleet management contract. And I will be very anxious to listen to the other arguments. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so just Councillor Duffy's mic'd up, so I'll let him go. But do we want to say, like, is that a motion put on the floor, Your Worship, to go back to the way it was?
What I'm willing to do, Mr. Chair, is I'm willing to sit back and listen to the rest of the discussion. I don't want to supersede anyone's input until we get all the arguments and discussions on the floor here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Councillor Duffy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll be brief. I have a couple of problems. First, I have, Your Worship, I don't know, you seem to be crossing the line. You're supposed to be the chair of council. You're selling the product here, and you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to deliver the message as decided by council, not sell it. So we may have Deputy Mayor Cody in the chair Monday night on this issue, because you're kind of showing your cards, so to speak. Anyway, I'll leave that for the rest of council to decide. I only have two things to say. We've talked about this. This has been here to finance. This is the third time. It was here on March 31. It was here on June the 9th, and now we're here today. I mean, nobody's going to change. Councillor Ramsey, Councillor Rivard, Deputy Mayor Cody. I think we've all had our minds made up. So anything we say is pretty well just the icing on the cake. But I just want to point out two things, maybe three things. The first thing is, we have a procurement agreement, or I'm sorry, a procurement policy here at the city of Charlottetown. It was first established in February 13th, 2006, 16 years ago. And we followed that policy up until this point. In the very first small paragraph, and I'll read it slowly, it talks about a policy statement, and it says, "The city of Charlottetown recognizes that the taxpayers of this city expect and have the right to receive a high level of service at the lowest possible cost." I don't know how, with all good conscience, you're going to skate around that paragraph and to adhere to our policy, our long-standing policy of 16 years, in order to vacate the agreement with the fleet management people. The second point is, and Mayor Brown did allude to it, is $266,000 in savings. The promise was made that it'd be at least $180,000 or $186,000 maybe in savings, but as reality has set in practice, $266,000. I mean, how are you going to explain that to our taxpayers, that we walked away from a deal that we would have gotten good service? And if we didn't get good service, the third thing I have to say, it's got a 30-day escape route with no questions asked. I mean, you can't lose on this thing. And if you're about to lose on this thing, you've got 30 days to get out. I mean, everybody's searching for some way to sink this ship, but I'm telling you, it'll not play well in the general public. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Councillor Ramsey.
Thank you. And I researched it too, and knowing some people, some of the car dealerships, when this all started, as Councillor Duffy said, we keep going back and back and back. I was talking to one person, and I asked the question, as you all keep hearing me say, when we had the Automobile Association in, how come, for example, our neighbors up west can go a lot cheaper or always win those bids? And then I checked with somebody at our other company. I certainly won't name their names, but he just said that the guy he's retired now last year, but he did the fleet management things for this company. He said they just couldn't compete with the person up west. So a lot of times they did not even put in bids. And as we all know, like there wasn't a whole lot of bids put in because we've seen it for the last 8 years that I've been here. Like sometimes there's only 2 companies, sometimes only 1. And if they're not going to put a bid in, we're sort of tying our hands. So that's my opinion on it. But he just stated that they couldn't compete with our friends up west, and it's the same dealership. And my question was, well, does he have more pull than the people in Charlottetown, the dealership? And they said, well, he doesn't care because like he goes by volume. So I don't know. And the reason I'm for it is because, as Councillor Duffy stated, and I read, we can walk away in 30 days if things don't work out. If we're tied in for a year, 6 months, or whatever it is, well, then we have an issue with it. But we can walk away if things don't work out well, and that's why I always like that escape clause, I guess, of 30 days. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or questions or need for clarification? Okay. So I guess we do need a recommendation from this committee. So if somebody wants to make a recommendation, I guess now would be an opportune time.
I'll move that we continue with the contract with Enterprise Fleet Management.
Can I suggest a friendly amendment to that?
Yes, sure.
That you would ratify, that you would move, that you would ratify the August 23rd, 21 resolution, and basically that's what you would be doing.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so it's moved and seconded that motion be ratified, that the
Yeah.
date was whatever the date
wordied
was.
up version.
Yeah. Okay.
No. Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Cody. What was stated by the councillor from Ward 3 that I will be showing my cards on this issue. Everyone at this committee, if there's a tie, you'll be showing your cards too. So if you look at the MGA, which was ratified by this council in 2018, I believe, in the MGA, the province, the Legislative Assembly, provided the mayor sits on all standing committees and has the full rights of all standing committees, full rights as any member in the committee. So that was changed because what it eliminated, as the councillor from Ward 3 knows, the responsibility that the mayor had previously, and that was he or she was responsible for selecting the chairs and the members at large for the standing committees, and the same for advisory committees. Now we're in a situation where the mayor sits in all the committees, has a vote in every committee, and constitutes quorum. I am part of quorum. So when I vote here, I am voting as a member of this committee. Or if I voted planning and development standing committee, I vote as a member of the committee. So I have the full rights of the committee. So we may be challenging, and I hope we do. I hope the councillor from Ward 3 does challenge the MGA on this responsibility or role of the mayor, because it could possibly look at sending a signal to the province that maybe we need to change it. But as it stands now, since 2018, I have the same voting rights as the councillor from Ward 3, the councillor from Ward 5, the councillor from Ward 8, and the councillor from Ward 7 on this committee. So again, please challenge it if it's challenged, I will be glad to listen to the results, but I will be voting against the resolution.
Thank you, Chair. At the end of the day, I guess we all show our cards to a certain level at these committees, because we all have to vote on a recommendation to council. It doesn't mean that you don't change your mind or can't change your mind before council when the ultimate vote comes. Again, it's a recommendation, so I guess no matter which way you vote, I guess can be termed as showing your cards. But if there is further information that's presented before council, or you have a change of heart, you have that right. So.
Mr. Chair, again, I'm just going back to the sections of the Municipal Government Act, of which I'm quite sure that the council from Ward 3 would know. They are sections 89, role and duties of mayor, section 90, membership on committees and organizations, and if he wants to, he can go to section 115, again, talks about the voting of council and mayor within the parameters of the Municipal Government Act. And again, as the councillor from Ward 7 said, you may make a decision here, and you've seen it, Mr. Chair, come to council, change my vote. I don't know what happened, but I changed my vote. So again, I respect the debate that's going on here today in regards to this issue, but we're at a point, and I thank the interim CAO to make sure that we do follow process, and the process is a recommendation from this standing committee. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. So I think everyone had a opportunity to ask questions and speak. So we have it moved, and we second that ratify the decision, whatever date, Ms. Waddell. Yeah. So that's what's on the table. So all in favor of that motion, raise your hand. Okay, 2. Those against that motion, 2. So as Councillor Duffy alluded to, you have your tie. I will be opposing that as well. So I don't know, do we need?
So that's the recommendation that will go forward.
Okay.
To ratify.
Okay. Okay. So I guess it goes to council as
A recommendation from this committee
that we get out of, sorry, go ahead.
a recommendation from this committee to ratify the agreement of, should I say, August 23rd, 21, and to move ahead with the enterprise fleet. Council will then have the opportunity to vote on that.
Sorry, Donna, so that was tied, and then I said no, so that's why I was saying it was gonna almost end as a negative. I was just wondering,
Sorry.
so,
Oh, I'm sorry,
yeah,
I put you in the wrong place.
no. So do you,
It's not.
yeah,
So then it will go forward as a vote. It will go forward as a recommendation to rescind the resolution and give the required 30 days
Okay.
notification.
Mr. Chair, could I also ask our interim CAO to follow up on the question from the councillor from Ward 3 on my voting here at committee? I think that has to be reviewed. And again, the outcome, if it shows that there is conflict, then we have to speak to our friends in government at the provincial level to say, okay, we need to fix it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
okay, no, that's great, thank you, everyone. Is there any new business? Okay, seeing none, and Donna, when we were trying to get adoption of the minutes from June 8th, there was, I guess, an issue in the closed session, but we just left that because we don't have a closed.
Yeah, okay, next time we go through the
Okay.
closed session, those minutes will go to.
Okay,
It's just, we'll make the amendment. Because it was just a clerical error.
Okay. Okay, so I just need to move for adjournment. Moved and second. Thank you, everyone, for coming in. That's great. Thank you.
I missed all 6.
They were just, jeez.
Almost heard you all, go over on the block one more time. There you go.
No, we're good. I was just